1950 Garfield Avenue in Louisville. We're down in the big bathroom down in the basement. We've pulled the toilet. We don't see a clean out anywhere. This is a cast iron pipe. This is what's underneath the house. It's always rough. It's always ugly. It rusts on the inside and that gathers stuff. There's a lot of whiteness to this. This is probably from the rehab. A fair bit of paint and stuff going down it. A little flat right here. That's not enough water to get us up tight. It's got a couple little ridges of buildup on the sides. Definitely buildup that's causing this look, not the missing bottom of a pipe. We don't like to see troughs, but you have to kind of look down it and see if the circle makes sense coming here, or does it make sense coming here? And in this case, it actually makes sense coming down below these two ridges of buildup. So how you determine whether or not it's bad pipe or buildup. There is toilet paper or a whitey or something. This actually is a good sign. What it says to me right now is this hasn't had to be cleaned very often. Do you know what year it was built?
75.
And it's got clay. It says to me it hasn't had a cable down it too often, or these ridges of buildup wouldn't be here. You see how it's getting to where it's actually narrowing off and almost forming a complete ledge through here. And it is kind of tightening up the space of the sewer. Yeah, probably wouldn't hurt to have a cable go down it sometime to help scrape that out of there. Clean. That green thing is a test cap. Means we're getting near the foundation wall. That would have been the inspection point for the city inspector for final approval. And there's our clay tile. It's a good transition there. That's lined up nicely. That's one of the first places you might see damage. It's a real thin root mass coming out right here and sticking to the side. Now don't let anyone tell you your sewer's broke because it has roots. All of these clay tile pipes leak a little. They're not like modern plumbing. The leak and it tracks the roots. Roots come in those little seams just like they come in the tiniest crack in them. Not a big deal as long as you don't let them get huge. If you ignore them for 10 years, well, they can back up your sewer and they can damage a pipe if you let them get too big. When you start getting tap roots as big as your finger in that wedge and no way through there.
So just putting the snake down there, take those out.
Yep, that's exactly what the snake is built for. Luckily, we're gonna see if that kind of pans out what we were talking about with those trees. It's a little flat. Anytime there's standing water, the slope's not perfect. We get freaked out when we see water up here, not when we see a half-inch of water. My lens is an inch and a quarter tall, so until the water completely covers my lens, we're still under an inch and a quarter. We don't get nervous until 3 inches. So far, it's been really just wispy stuff. It really does kind of look like, knock on wood, that huge tree does have extremely shallow root bed. And it is not reaching down here to the 8-foot depth where sewer is. Another spill. Yeah, it's out front. 56 feet, a little bit of a clump there. That one's still a ways off. It's really not worth the cleaning, although I think the buildup in the cast iron is worth the cleaning even if the roots out here aren't. Get us a little cold water. No leaks here from my previous looks. Okay. Just because I got a little bit of scuzzy on the lens and I don't have water to get rid of it. Is your realtor hiding right behind you? I thought I heard you. Could you holler up and have them flush the upstairs toilet?
Sure.
That'll get water there faster.
That one is leaking.
From the tank,
Yeah, exactly.
Is that a original toilet too?
It looks like it.
Yeah.
The bolts are real rusty on them.
Those two rubber washers and then the one in the center too, over the years can get dry and brittle. And then they will start cracking and it's also a lot, that might be a big sewer out there because if you kind of watch, you can see the fumes that are, you worried about that one too?
No, I was just wondering what it looks like.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's got So that's just like sewer gases?
Yeah, that is sewer gases that you're seeing swirl around in there. All this water's taking its time.
I couldn't flush the toilet because there's a leak in the toilet.
So the toilet's still in the leaky area when you flush. So where is it leaking?
From the tank.
Another little belly will do the job for us. That one you can still see all the way down through there. It's maybe an inch and a quarter at its deepest, but you see it's just hovering right there at the top of our lens. And this sewer, there's going to be some things that you don't want to put in it anyway, but there are things I wouldn't put in any sewer. Don't flush paper towels, don't flush wipes. I don't care if they say flushable on them, don't. And then the big one, unfortunately, put all the weight on the women again. No feminine hygiene products. Those things in an old sewer like this, even one that structurally looks as good as this one does, will find all of those little flaws, like these little flat areas. And if one gets hung up, it's only a matter of time until it makes a pile. It structurally looks really good. A little minor flatness in a couple areas, a few really minor roots. And this even is a little deeper because the water has caught up to it. So this is with water flowing too, that it's even this deep. There's no heavy sludge in it. When a belly's really behaving badly, there'll be a layer of black, nasty sludge on the bottom. And when we push through it, you will see that. And we're not seeing any of that. Those cobwebs there tell you the water actually flows through there pretty decent. And we've got 2 fixtures going now, so this amount of water is completely normal. Holy bitty pathway, Batman! At some point, it's going to become really difficult for us to get through it if they keep turning it left and right like that. What is wrong with the straight line, people? Especially at 106 feet. It's a horrible place to add extra turns. It kind of makes you wonder, why the heck is the thing going?
The neighbor's house. We pop up in someone's toilet.
Yikes! All kinds of fun, because you get that slower than the water, and the water's not helping you much.
So I shut that off?
No, if you turn that off, we won't go anywhere. We'll stop in our tracks. Oh, you're kidding me!
Another train. You're earning your money, Dan.
It's almost there. That's the tap right there. Jeez.
So that's the street. That's
That's the city. I didn't see anything in there that worries me. It's long, has those bellies that are the biggest flaw in it. None of them were too deep. We can turn that water off now. Do you still have one running upstairs?
I told you to turn it off. Oh, good. Have another beer.
Alright.
Let me use the toilet.
Ladies,
Yeah.
mind the sign. Now these little low areas, there's still water flowing through here, and that one was 3/4 of an inch. And we don't like the fact that they're so far away and they're still a little flat, but there is nothing built up in that area. There's no grease stuck to the sides, there's no heavy sediment in it. It just isn't behaving badly. And that's with, I don't think, much cleaning. I really don't see any sign of any significant cleaning's been done here. Because that stuff that's in the cast iron portion, that takes a long time to build up like that. It can be decades. It can definitely be decades. When it can get there faster if it's being abused, but you'll just have to take my word for it that it looks different when it's fast, when they're just abusing the heck out of it. There's definitely a little bit of paint in that buildup that's in that cast iron too. That's why there's so milky kind of to the water and that constant little dots I'm getting on the lens. But it looks good. I would call this one in the B minus range. And I normally give all clay a C, just because I don't want people to get comfortable and forget to clean it. But you've got two roots. There's one there and then that other one that had it on the other side. See the one right there? Those are not big enough to clean yet. You probably, with the cast iron, could get away with waiting another 6 months and then you might get some more effective cutting on those. But if the roots don't have a little bulk to them, you can't cut them. You'll just push them to the side and it won't do much. Be careful here to make sure we don't make this video over 15 minutes. I'll have to upload it on the annoying website. I've been doing YouTube, and I was very disappointed to discover that they by far have the best interface, even if you pay hundreds of dollars for a different website.
It's not.
It's faster. I don't have to change the format of the video at all, and it looks great. Back inside the cast iron now. You see that grease? Just even me going through there and breaking a bunch of it down. Stuff can still get through here. It'll just make it smoother and less likely to catch something. But join Vimeo, and Vimeo it takes, if I don't change it to an MP4, which loses quality, it takes 3 times as long to upload it. But you can download and you can go over 15 minutes.
YouTube has the 15 minute limit.
Yeah, the YouTube cuts you off at 15